Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Joining us here tonight in the studio, we're joined by Dr. Mohamed Roshdy, the economics and banking expert. Dr. Roshdy, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to say good evening to you and our audience, and I would like to thank program team today for today's invitation.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Roshdy, before we start talking about Egypt and Algeria, how we can find a different route to strengthen the cooperation and the trade between both countries, just give us an overview on what's happening globally in terms of economic relations that would really push Egypt and Algeria to find alternative ways to strengthen the trade between both countries. What's happening in the global economy right now?
Before answering your question, I would like to take the opportunity and congratulate the Egyptian nation, as it's by coincidence that during the Prime Minister visit to Algeria, there is the Mediterranean Games, actually, and Egypt raised, as far as I recall, 44 medals till now.
Yes.
If I would like to say, so I would like to say congratulations for the Egyptian nation and for our champions there.
Yes, they made us all proud, definitely.
To answer your question, I would like to start with something common for a lot of people: WhatsApp. Actually, I would like to say what's up globally. Actually, we have a lot of things on a global level. The war of the Ukrainian and Russian war actually negatively reflected on the GDP growth, the global GDP growth. I believe it. As far as I recall, the World Bank was expecting that the GDP growth will be decreased by 1.5%. In addition to, the unemployment rate will range between 6.3% to 6.5%. This is in addition to the estimated inflation rate actually will reach from 4% to 8%. This is in addition of two main things. The wheat price, the wheat tan jumped from, as far as I recall, $272 to reach $435. This is like 60% increase. In addition to, the oil barrel, it jumped from $67, as far as I recall, to reach $101. With an increase 67%. This is globally, which is the view globally, which I'm quite sure that will reflect on all countries, especially, in my humble opinion, in the developing countries, actually.
Well, Egypt, as a result, is really trying to strengthen the trade and bilateral relations between other countries other than the European continent. One of them is Algeria, and the Prime Minister went last week, and they were talking about strengthening the areas to strengthen in terms of trade between both countries, and also trying to find another route for trade, maritime route for trade between both countries, instead of having to go through Libya, which is going through its own political developments. So, first off, what is the significance of such a visit by the Prime Minister to the capital, Algiers, last week? And how can this finding another maritime route really work on strengthening the trade between Egypt and Algeria? How can they both countries benefit each other?
Actually, I would like to highlight one of the most important things. What is the objective of this visit? In these circumstances, in the global circumstances, and the Ukrainian-Russian war actually, which negatively impact a lot of economies, I can say it loudly by figures. Actually, one of the most important things, there's something which called the SWOT analysis or TWAS analysis. What's TWAS or TWAS analysis? That when you have a threat, you have to figure out this threat and create an opportunity. And from the weak points, you have to find the W word, the strength. And actually, was quite smart from the presidential leadership and the Egyptian government. During this analysis, actually, the Ukrainian invasion were the global threat. And actually, the presidential leadership in Egypt is trying to get an opportunity from this through creating more strategic partnerships. You can integrate with a lot of countries, especially in Africa and Arab countries. And this will make us more powerful and will decrease a little bit, I can say it loudly, the impact of the global war, I can say the Ukrainian and the Russian war, negatively impact a lot of countries' economies directly. By this strategic partnership, this will positively decrease the impact. Like, for example, the agreement for trading, decreasing the import from European countries, from Russia, from Ukrainian, as you know, and our audience, Russia and Ukrainian, they are contributing, as far as I recall, like 30% from the imports from the exports for wheat, actually.
Yes.
This is in addition to the oil. And this is negatively impact a lot of countries. This is what the government is trying to figure out by creating, as far as I recall, the inking like 12 cooperation agreements and MOUs, actually. This is positively will impact our economy and make it more solid, and we can face a lot of things, especially during the last 10 years or 12 years. We faced a lot of things after the Egyptian revolution, 25th of Jan revolution, and then after that the 30th of June revolution. And we did a great job, the government and the presidential leadership did a great job in terms of the economic reform and the infrastructure and how we enhance our global image globally, and how we get the trust from the credit agency and financial institutions out to bring more FDIs. This is one of the most crucial things. If you would like to build a country, actually, you have to focus on human beings and infrastructure. This will positively reflect on bringing more FDIs.
Well, they spoke about finding an alternative route through the sea, maritime route, to strengthen the trade between both countries instead of going through Libya. Now, how easy will that be, trying to create or find or agree on another maritime route instead of the route on land through Libya between Egypt and Algeria?
Actually, the maritime route, this is quite important. As you know, we can say that Libya is a focal point. If you would like to have a trade between Algeria and Egypt, it should be passed through actually Libya. And as you know, and our audience, there's a political instability. And in addition to the geopolitical instability in the world, Libya has a special case. And how we can figure this out, actually Egypt and the presidential leadership is working on two main pillars. The first one is how to help Libya to go through a lot of agreements and go for the election, early election, to have stability on the political side and stable environment, actually. This is in addition to trading, the trading part. As you know, for that reason, the government, the Egyptian government and the Algerian government, they think how to create this railway, actually, maritime, and this will positively impact the trade. As you know, and our audience, in 2021, the non-oil exports to Algeria increased by 14%, and the commercial exchange bounced back by 15.4% to reach, as far as I recall, $1 billion after the pandemic. And I believe the capability for the Egyptian and Algerian governments, we can do more and more, in my humble opinion.
Yes. Well, talking about doing more and more, a lot of experts on both sides, they're saying that the trade between both countries does not reflect the possibilities and the potential cooperation that could be taking place. So why are we not maximizing and making use of all the potential and all the opportunities, the Egyptian ones and the Algerian ones, and how can we strengthen it? You've mentioned the memorandums of understanding that have been signed during last week's visit. How can we build on the signings of these MOUs and how to strengthen it?
Actually, I would like to divide this into two parts, the Egyptian part and the Algerian part. Actually, if we go for the Egyptian exports to Algeria, we can find easily that cement, iron and steel bars, copper, wires, wood, vegetables are the most important imports to Algeria. The other part, Algeria imports actually the natural gas, propane gas, in addition to a lot of things. If we can expand the agreements in a lot of things like industry, trade, endowments, water resources, one of the most important things nowadays that there's a global focus on how to create more water resources and natural resources and how to focus on sustainability.
Yes.
This is one, and by the way, Egypt and Africa is lucky to host COP27 next November, if God will. Actually, we have to focus on those things. This is in addition to a lot of things that we can cooperate, and this is what happened: education, scientific research, small and medium-sized enterprises, investments, exports, a lot of things we can focus on. By this way, we can a little bit increase the part of cooperation between Algeria and Egypt in an efficient way. The most important thing, if you would like to build a strong agreement or partnership, it should be include effectiveness and efficiency for both parts. Actually, I can say it, if we have any agreement, it should have a mutual benefits between us on household segment or an individual part, actually. For that, it should gain win-win situation for both parts, actually.
Yes. Well, during the visit by Prime Minister Madbouli and meeting the Algerian President Tebboune, now they spoke about the opportunities and the win-win situation that could be initiated by both sides economically. Now, do they also, both countries, stand on the same political views and same political stances towards the international community and the Arab and Middle East region? Do they feel that they're both on the same wavelength to ensure the stability and safety and security of the North African and Arab world?
Actually, one of the most important things that Egypt and Algeria, historically, they have a lot of common things. One of the most important things, in addition to the language, the religion, a lot of things, the political views.
Yes.
Actually, both of us are believing that the peace, the global peace, are the key to build a successful economy for African continent, and this is the start. This is the starting point for both of us to have a strategic partnership. I believe in my humble opinion, this partnership will positively impact both economies. And we started, as far as I recall, by 25 Egyptian projects in Algeria in a lot of sectors, the pharmaceutical sector, the communication sector, electricity, construction, agriculture, a lot of things. And this will positively reflect the GDP structure. As you know, if you would like to focus and improve your GDP growth, actually you have to focus on the GDP structure. And as you know, and our audience, the GDP structure consists of main three things. The first one, the agricultural part, and the industrial part, and the third one, which is the service part. And if you would like to have a fast growth, you have to focus on the service part. Why? I can say it easily that the service part, which has the highest added value. For that, we shouldn't invent the wheel. To be honest to ourselves, we shouldn't invent the wheel. We can see easily a lot of countries, developed countries, they focus on this part, and nowadays they have the highest GDP growth. And this is what we are doing in Egypt currently. I believe that the government and the presidential leadership, in addition to a lot of governmental companies and private sector, working closely for the first time to build a successful or a success story to enhance the GDP structure. And you can find easily the FDI is increasing. There are a lot of acquisitions, joint ventures. You can see easily M&Es, multinational companies are trying to enter the Egyptian market. Why? Why they are doing that? The money, actually capital or money doesn't have any religion, you know, and the only, or loyalty, the only thing or the motive, the potential for the country and the return. And Egypt is quite potential, one of the most important things. And this is not just my opinion, this is a lot of international institutions, financial institutions, can say it loudly in a lot of publishments.
Yes. And in light of the similar stances, both politically and economically, of both countries, Egypt and Algeria, Prime Minister Madbouli and his Algerian counterpart presided over the Egyptian-Algerian Business Forum that was held during the visit of the Prime Minister to Algiers under the theme Algeria and Egypt, Common History and Denominators in the Service of the Promising Economic Partnership. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.